Mr. Cassel.
Mr. Margolies. How you doing,
How
buddy?
How are you, sir?
Good. Good to hear your voice.
Good to hear you. Are we live?
We are live right now. We are recording.
Recording live. To be listened to, not live.
Later to be edited.
Yeah.
So, what's up, man? I miss you.
I miss you too. I miss your musk.
I miss your voice. Wait, actually, this doesn't count. This is digitally recreated. So
what?
This is digitally reproduced. I missed your analog voice.
So I guess this is the pilot episode.
This is the pilot episode of Michael Margolies' trip around the world.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to call this thing yet, or even what the focus is for that matter. But I guess we'll see. I guess it'll evolve, and we'll figure out what it is.
Well, I liked Walk the Earth. I thought it was a good name.
Walk the Earth could work. Well, let's get into it. For all of our listeners out there.
Yeah. All 0 of them right now.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to do, just as a thought and to give some background between of you and I, how we know each other, and then get into, what inspired this story. So where do we meet?
Elementary school, I think.
Yeah. It was elementary school back in
Owings Mills, Maryland. I don't know what year it was we met, but at some point we became a lot closer. I don't know when it was exactly.
I think it was probably in middle school we became close.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Franklin
Middle, yeah.
In Reisterstown, Maryland.
Yeah.
So we went we went to high school and then graduated and went our separate ways.
That's right.
You went to
University of Maryland.
Uh-huh.
Studied my chemical engineering there. And you did engineering as well.
Yep. I went to RPI in Troy, New York, and outside of Albany, and got my industrial engineering degree. And then I got hired and shipped away to Boston, and now I'm in Syracuse. And you?
Yeah, well, so I guess my story was I took the job initially with Exxon in Fairfax, Virginia, working for their central engineering. And then 2.5 years later, I got transferred to Houston. I worked in a refinery for a couple of years until I just 1 month ago left that job. My last day was almost exactly a month ago, a month and a day, August 15th.
What year did you get transferred to?
I got transferred to Houston in the beginning of 2011.
Okay.
So I spent 2.5 years in each location.
Gotcha.
But I guess some background to what got me to where I am.
Yeah.
Was there's a point in time when here I am. I've got a good job, well-paying career. I had all the things you're supposed to want to make you happy, and I still felt like something was missing. And so I've been trying to figure that out. Spent some time in Peru about a year ago in September of 2012. And when I got back from that trip, I did feel kind of inspired. In fact, I can go even further back than that. Even 1 year after my working in the real world, quote unquote, like in summer of 2009 is when I went on my first backpacking trip to Europe. And that's the first time I met people that weren't just on a 2-week trip like I was. Sorry, there's some background conversations also. I'm actually using Wi-Fi in my friend Andy's house.
Cool. Where are you right now?
I'm in Goa. It's a beach sort of state in India. It's really nice. I'll get to that though.
No, it's just to give context to the background noise. That's all.
Oh yeah.
But back to
2009.
Yeah.
I had met people that were not just backpacking, not just taking a vacation for 2 weeks, but were, just traveling for a few months. Hold on a second. What's that?
We're going to go back to left yoga.
Okay.
Can you move outside so I can lock the door?
Yeah, I can move outside.
What?
Yeah, I can do that. Okay, I'm being asked to move outside. These guys are going to go and do laughter yoga, actually.
Laughter yoga.
Okay. So give me 1 second. I'm going to relocate.
No problem. We're back.
All right.
We're back from our pause. Michael.
Yeah, sorry about that. I had to relocate. I guess that's part of being abroad is you're not just at home with your normal Wi-Fi connection and can go in a room and close it. I'm kind of figuring it out as I go along. So I'm borrowing Wi-Fi from a friend I made. And so I had to leave his house because he was leaving. So now I'm on his balcony.
Nice. That's cool. Hopefully it doesn't rain.
Yeah. Well, I'm covered. I got a covered area here.
Okay.
So it should be good. But yeah, I guess that's part of it, right?
Exactly. This is it, man. No worries. So I just try to get you back into the mindset where you were before.
I think I was talking about 2009 going backpacking in Europe. I went on a 2-week trip throughout Europe, and that was the first time I met people that were doing the whole, not just a 2-week vacation, but actual. This is my lifestyle. I'm traveling for several months, and I thought to myself, someday that's going to be me. And when I went to fast forward now back to a year ago, 2012, September, when I was in Peru, while I was there, I kind of came out of that trip thinking, you know what, basically now's the time. I need to do this experience. And not only that, there was a question in my mind for a while is, do I take a break from work, take 6 months off, a year, whatever I need, and then come back? Or do I, leave outright? And what I kind of decided coming out of Peru was, I need to jump without the rope, because my goal here is that on my end? Oh yeah, there's a little motorbike kind of pulling up. My goal here isn't to take a break and go back to my job. My goal is to really change the trajectory of my life. And I think about what I really want to do. Ultimately, I want to be an entrepreneur, start my own business, or maybe a few of them. My goal isn't to take a break and go back. And so it just became clear to me that if I really am serious about that, then I need to fully commit myself to it. And that was when the decision was made, I think.
Now, question. So your motivation...
Authentic sounds here.
No, I like the sounds. It sounds pretty cool. It sounds like a lawnmower.
It's a little scooter bike. I rented one yesterday. It's fun.
That's awesome. I'd love...
Sorry, what were you saying?
I just wanted to know. What made you make this change was something inspirational, not something in your day-to-day life where you said, "Oh crap, what am I doing?" This is kind of like a planted thought that has been dwelling in your mind for several years. It sounds like.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so it wasn't like a spur of the moment thing. I had been thinking about this for some time.
Okay.
Like I said, the first seed was back in 2009 when I first sort of went on a backpacking style or fast packing rather trip, as they call it. And then over time the idea grew, and then finally, it just became obvious to me that this is what I need to try this out, because if I don't do this now, I probably never will, and I'll always look back and think, what if? And if I do it and I fail, I believe I can always get myself back to pretty much where I was. Could find another engineering job, get back into a traditional career path, if I really want to. I don't really see that happening, though. Who knows what the future will bring? But
so let me ask you on that topic. So you said you thought about being an entrepreneur and getting into something different. what do you foresee yourself getting into, if not the same engineering field of working for a tier, top 10 company in the world, if not top number one?
Fortune 1 company, yeah.
Fortune 1
maybe Fortune 2, depending if Walmart's ahead right now.
So for those of you who don't know, Fortune 1, he's referring to ExxonMobil Corporation, which is the largest oil company in the world. And
largest company.
Largest company, straight up.
Maybe Walmart's bigger. I don't know. They go back and forth. But
regardless, it's up there. So instead of working for a top tier employer in the world, what do you foresee possibly stemming from the future as from a job standpoint, from a lifestyle standpoint?
Well, I don't know exactly what it will be yet. I think part of this, there's a few steps to what I'm doing now. The first step is, for now I'm going to travel. I'm going to try to relax, enjoy life, step back and smell the roses kind of thing. And just learn about the world, get a perspective that I haven't previously had. That's kind of step one, basically taking a step back. And then step 2 is going to be, okay, once I kind of get that stuff out of the way, out of my system, get my mental space where I want it to be, then it will be, okay, now let me think about starting a business. I don't know what that specifically the idea will be, but I have an idea of some qualities it has to have. I want a business that I can run via the internet from anywhere in the world. So a location independent business. So I have, this freedom is kind of, a key part of this. So actually another source of inspiration for me was the 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. It's a great book. Highly recommend anyone to read it. And he kind of lays out a lot of interesting ideas there, where you start these kind of, he calls them muses, not even businesses, but these muses you can run virtually from anywhere. And you also heavily automate them. You basically debottleneck the business by taking yourself out of the equation. You set up processes so that it can be run without you, essentially.
That sounds pretty good. I've never read it. I think you mentioned it to me in the past, but I definitely will have to take a look at it.
It's really, really good. Now, it's called the 4-Hour Workweek, but there is obviously a lot of energy and startup energy has to go into it. There's a little bird over here. It's joining me, I guess. It'll take a lot of effort to get something started. But the idea is you don't have it so that the job owns you. And ultimately, if you get that sort of set up correctly, maybe it'll be a few of those things that you're looking at. I don't know if it's going to truly be a 4-hour work week or any of that stuff, but I want to directionally, I want to kind of free my time more than it has been, set up something that is for myself and that I can run from anywhere. And once I do those things, I think ultimately what I want to do is find a way to help people. Yeah, it's sort of like a help yourself, then help others. So once I've got my situation under control, then I can refocus my attention and, figure out a way to make the world a better place, as cliche as that sounds.
It's not cliche. You do it in your own way.
Yeah, in some way. And so I'm still figuring out the details of all those things, but this is the vague idea.
So to reiterate, number one is travel. Step one is travel, enjoy, learn, get some perspective on the world. And then, step 2 would be create some sort of self-sustaining business, hopefully that you can travel and also run at the same time. Mm-hmm. Then what would be 3?
Save the world.
Save the world. From what?
I don't know yet.
Its own self-destruction.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the idea. And so those are all the things that led me to this point and the background, I guess. It didn't hurt also that, my buddy Schuster, he sort of blazed the trail in a sense because he was almost a year ahead of me in this whole thing. He quit his job a year ago and he's backpacked through Southeast Asia and he's actually doing the whole looking to do a startup kind of business right now. Cool. So that also didn't hurt. Having him as a sounding board and talking, understanding how this whole thing works as well. So a lot of different things came into this. And so finally, past August, I finally pulled the trigger. I put in my notice beginning of August. August 15th, I had my last day of work and went directly from there to the airport. Didn't come straight to India. Went back home first to Baltimore / DC. Saw family. I went to my buddy Gary's wedding. Yeah. Which was awesome. Actually. I got to be a groomsman there, which was great. It was a good time. And then I saw my family and saw you, saw all of our other high school crew and college friends.
It's kind of like a last taste of, what we call in the U.S. a civilized society, where it's society as we know it. I suppose we grew up.
It's still
grown up.
Civilized. Yeah.
It's still civilized. I'm sorry, but I mean it's society as we know it. What you've grown up with, what you're comfortable with,
Well, Western culture, United States, yeah,
correct.
So it was more so about the relationships though than about the culture. It's more so, hey, let me spend some time with people because I won't see everyone for some time.
Right.
But yeah, spent a week back home, then flew to San Francisco, where our other high school friend, Justin Cassel lives.
Yep.
And we went to Burning Man, and that was also a really, really cool experience. I don't know if I talked to you about Burning Man yet, had I?
No, I don't know anything about it. I don't know if you want to talk about it here.
Let's talk about it briefly. You go into the desert of Nevada for a week, and the theme there is radical self-reliance. So you bring everything that you need to survive in the desert for a week. So you bring all your food, your tent, everything you need to survive. But it's just really, and you think beforehand, people are asking me, what are you going to do in the desert for a week? Oh man, that is the least of your concerns there. There is more going on there than in any other place in the world. This whole city kind of springs up, and it lasts for a week. It's massive. You need a bicycle to get around the place. It'll take you 20 minutes to go from one end to the other on a bike.
Wow.
Absolutely massive. And there's just everything you can think of is there. You'll have music. You'll have bars. You'll have restaurants. You'll have an adult playground. You'll have yoga classes. You'll have lectures, hookah lounges, art, interactive art cars. It's everywhere you turn. There's things to do and see. There's a whole booklet actually of what, where, when. I didn't even look at it. I just went around and just found things. You could relive the same week 50 times and not experience everything.
What would you say is one of the most notable things that you saw?
Oh, well, most notable thing is the culture there, and it's the gifting culture, where there's no. So it does cost you money to get there. You buy a ticket, you got to buy a bicycle, buy a tent, pay dues to your camp if you're in one, food, blah blah blah. But once you're inside, there is no money exchanged. There's a strict policy. There is no. I didn't see any money whatsoever when I was inside there. There's only gifting. So people gift to other people. So you walk into your neighbor across the street has coffee, and they're just giving it to people. Or I brought these, I brought some head massagers I was giving to people, or necklaces. Everyone brings something. Even the art itself is kind of considered a gift. So people built an art car, and that is a gift to everybody. Or people who brought. There is no centralized event. that was planning things with stages or lineups. All the music there was just something somebody brought because they felt like all Burning Man is whatever the people in Burning Man bring. So all the music was just someone decided to set up a stage and have a concert.
Wow. So it's not, there's not any formalized structure of performance?
No, none at all whatsoever. It's whatever the people there decide to do.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that. Yeah.
And there is a book that will tell you what's going on when, because I guess they submit to it and say what they want to do. But it's the people who go bring whatever they want. And so you want to go to, when you go to the hookah lounge, you just walk in and sit down. Or at one point I was riding on my bike at night in the middle of what they call deep playa. The playa is what they call, the desert out there. And I'm in deep playa, which is far where things are few and far between. It's far out from everything.
Yep.
And came across a late night diner.
Wow.
And I just sat down and they served me some food.
That's awesome.
And, it's really, really incredible that, if you needed something, my mask got lost.
Oh, okay.
My neighbors, I have an extra one. Here you go. You need to wear like a mask and goggles because those dust storms can get crazy.
Oh, really?
So to protect. Oh, yeah.
Were there any dust storms that you experienced?
Yeah, I was riding around in the desert, and then the dust storm kind of started going crazy one day in particular. But it was kind of fun. It was part of the experience.
I can't say I've ever been in a dust storm.
It's really fun, actually, because you're like, wow, I'm in the middle of the desert and there's a dust storm going on. It just feels wild.
That is cool.
And then when the man burns at the end, it's amazing. All the art cars are kind of circled around in a circle, and people are inside of the art cars. And the man's burnt. There's fireworks, and the man's blowing up. Everyone's just going nuts. Mm-hmm. And what's really cool to me was that each art car is, playing music. They're each playing different music, though, right?
Right.
And to me, it was interesting because they're all celebrating the same thing, but in their own way.
What? And it was celebrating just the being there and.
Yeah, being there and the man burning, but each one's got different theme music to it, a different kind of way of dancing to it, a different way of celebrating the occasion. And Right. It was kind of like a microcosm of life itself, where, all the different religions and cultures of the world, we all have different ways of celebrating and different traditions.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we're all celebrating the same thing, which is life.
Right.
So that was kind of the impression I got from it.
Oh,
so I thought that was interesting.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, so Burning Man's really cool. And so I definitely recommend anyone who thinks it sounds like their cup of tea, definitely go then, because you won't go and regret it.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But yeah, I guess after Burning Man, I came straight to India.
Well, when was your flight? You flew out of San Francisco to India. Where did you?
Yeah.
So how long was the flight, and where did you arrive, and when did you get there?
So I bought my flight with miles I had.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to save money any way I can. So I had this super crazy flight where I went from San Francisco to Hong Kong to Singapore to Mumbai. And there was a long layover in Singapore in particular. Mm-hmm. So it was like 35 hours total to get here.
Right.
But I didn't really mind. It's, I'm not in a rush. I don't have to be anywhere. I have home time.
You got time is on your side, as that
Time's
song.
on my side. Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
so
it is.
It wasn't bad. I would hang out, I would read, I would write. I had plenty of things to write about. I would just sleep or watch a movie, listen to music. Just enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah. And then you made your way to.
And then a little scooter coming. Sorry, what?
And then you made your way to India from Singapore.
Yeah, well, so in Singapore, I had a layover in the airport for a few hours,
right.
And then flew to Mumbai. Mumbai is the first city I came to in India. huge city. Like it can take you a couple hours to get from one side to the other. And so first impressions of Mumbai, first thing I noticed was the traffic. The traffic's insane. You know, you've got cars, bikes, there's little tricycle carriage things, pedestrians, and they're all going in every direction. The lanes mean nothing.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
There's no such thing as lanes, really.
So it's just a cluster.
It's just crazy. And everyone absolutely lays on their horns the entire time. New York City has nothing on Mumbai.
Oh, wow.
It's absurd. And they don't even, when they honk their horns here, it's not even like, you know, I'm angry at you, keep moving. What are you doing? It's like, hey, I'm here. They just honk to like let you know that they're here. Like, literally, because if they're passing you, you have to honk to get past somebody.
Oh wow,
it's really crazy. I kind of understood it yesterday, so I'm not going necessarily chronologically here. But yesterday, when I was riding one of the scooter bikes, there's no lanes, and the roads are really thin. Really, thin isn't the word. And as you're going around bends and you can't see anything, you would honk to let people know, hey, I'm coming, because you don't know what people cruise down the middle of the road, and it could be a car that takes up most of the road.
Yeah.
So it was kind of scary.
So you're fighting for your life as a motorist.
Yeah.
On a little scooter.
And then take that, but this isn't like, I'm in Goa, you know, by the beach, and it's kind of like a jungle / beach. It's pretty amazing. But take what's here, which is more chilled out, and multiply it by like 4 billion, and that's Mumbai. And
what?
It's the most insane traffic I've ever seen in my entire life.
So besides the traffic, what were the noticeable differences between that and Mumbai and any place that you've seen? What were the sensations, and what were the?
Well, I'll walk you through a few things, I guess.
Sure.
I mean, like I'll kind of just tell some stories, and you'll get a nice picture of it, I think.
Okay.
Like my first day, when I first arrived, I met some German backpackers at my hostel, and we all went to this place called the Elefanta Caves. And there's just these crazy monkeys everywhere. There's one monkey. So I had a little plastic bag that I had like some kind of Indian junk food, like a snack bag, and it was opened. I guess he smelled it, and he just like ran at my bag. I had to lift it up and get it away from this monkey. I got it away from him, but then this other monkey attacks, and he gets the bag, and I lift it up, but he's still holding on to this plastic bag. He rips a hole at the bottom of the bag, grabs the little snack thing, and runs away. Oh. And I'm just like, clever girl.
Jurassic Park reference.
Yeah, that's right. What was really crazy though was the Indians kept wanting to take pictures with us because we're white. It's like they hadn't. I don't know. It was really weird to me, but it was like, oh, I haven't seen a white person before.
Wow.
I want to show my friends I found a white person or something. It was weird to me because I'm thinking, you know, there's got to be. I'm not the first white person to come to Mumbai.
Yeah.
But I guess like the people there weren't from Mumbai. They were also visiting, and maybe they hadn't seen so many white people. So we would constantly get asked to take pictures with people.
Wow.
It was really weird.
You and this group of German tourists.
Yeah. It was really, really weird. Because in the U.S., you would never, you know, walk up to an Indian guy and say, hey, can I take a picture with you? You look different than me.
Yeah, it's so different. It's so different.
Yeah. That was the first day. The next day, I guess one thing that was crazy was trying to get a SIM card here. And normally most countries I've been in, you just can buy a SIM card, pop it in your phone, you're good to go. But here it's like an application process. I had to get a passport style picture taken, submit it, give them my passport also. And I had to have an Indian person. Luckily I had this, a friend of a friend was with me that day, and she co-signed for me. But it's this whole process. I guess they're trying to prevent terrorism. I think they've had incidents where like terrorists have used SMS to detonate bombs and these kind of things. So
Wow.
They're super strict about how you're granted a SIM card.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, what about other technologies?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I guess there's always other ways or whatever, but SIM cards are kind of guarded.
Wow.
Well, let's see, what else? I'll just kind of speed through a few different stories. I went out that night. I met some people through couch surfing, and I went out that night with them. And this was actually, it felt like I was just in the U.S. at this point because I was in this loud bar. Wouldn't have been my first choice, but I ended up, as fate may have it, come on, bird, chill out.
Throw something at it.
It's too far away to like attack, but he's too close to not hear. But we ended up going to this really loud bar, and then they were like, "Oh, let's relocate." And I was like, "Yeah, we can do that." But nope, we went relocated to a club.
Well, let me ask you, who
it was called Club Orgy, actually.
Who are these people? Who are these people that you met up with wind up being?
I just posted something on couch surfing. I said, "Hey, I'm in Mumbai. I'm new here. Who wants to hang out?" This girl named Joanne responded, and it was like a bunch of her friends. She's actually living out here, and she has a bunch of friends like through work, and it was one of their birthday parties. So it was a mixed group actually of Indians and foreigners that were now living in India.
Oh, okay.
And so that was cool.
Was that the picture that you showed me of the people getting in the car?
No. So, okay. So
I don't want to jump around too much, but sure.
Yeah, well, I'll go forward. So the next day I went to a different couch surfing thing. It was an event. Someone posted, it was basically just going and having tea. And at this event, I met it was actually mostly locals, but there was also this girl, Samara, who is from New Zealand, and she was on a similar path to me. She'd also just arrived in Mumbai and was heading towards Goa, which is where I wanted to go. So actually, she and I ended up traveling together for the past maybe the past week or so. We went to another couch surfing event the next day. So that night we took a train, and this guy named Arindam picked us up, and we stayed at his place, and it was a day trip basically is what we did. There were 10 of us, 8 Indians and us, 2 travelers, white people. And the 10 of us in 2 cars went on a day trip to this place called Khas Valley. And so we woke up at like 5:30 in the morning, and we didn't get back till, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 in the morning. It was a 5-hour drive there, like a 5-hour drive back, plus the stops. Yeah, so there's tons of pictures actually from that you've probably seen. That was really, really cool. Even just the drive there. So 5-hour drive couldn't have been more interesting because I'm just talking to, a bunch of locals and getting to know. We had philosophical conversations.
Right.
We talked about just cultural differences, and we ended up meditating when we finally got out there.
Wow.
One of the girls led a kind of breathing exercise and progressive calming of yourself. I found that to be really cool.
So
yeah.
So paint the picture. So you met somebody on couch surfing, joined a bunch of locals, and went on this trip with people you basically don't really know.
Yeah, something like that. And I met Samara the day before at a tea trail.
At that tea event. And then
and the next day we joined with a different group of people.
You go on the
day trip.
Okay.
Yeah.
So day trip, you go to the Khas Valley, you're meditating, and with all these people.
It's beautiful. There's green everywhere. There's flowers. The flowers were blooming. It's only for 2 weeks of the year because the monsoon season is just coming to an end now. And this is the one time of the year when those flowers bloom. So there's these beautiful purple flowers all around. It was really cool, actually, this moment where I'm out there and I'm thinking, wow, I am exactly where I'm supposed to be right now. Mm-hmm. Everything felt so right as I was here I am in this beautiful place, meeting interesting people, experiencing the world. Mm-hmm. This is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Wow. It's got to be a pretty good feeling.
Yeah, it was really, really good.
So you were there for how long? A day?
That was a day trip to the Khas Valley. Mm-hmm. And then we came back, really late that night. And we were going to, the next day, head back to Mumbai. So we were staying at this guy, Arindam's place. He's the guy who organized the day trip. And we also were crashing at his place. He lived kind of on the outskirts of Mumbai. So after the day trip, we stayed at his place that night a second time. And as we stayed with him the night before the trip and the night after, we were going to go back. But Samara actually got sick the next day. And who knows, maybe it was something she ate or she got some water, swallowed some water, who knows. But she got sick, and so we kind of hung around. She actually got worse that night, and we had to take her to the hospital.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. In Indian hospitals, that was an interesting experience also.
Yeah. So walk me through that. So you took Arindam helped you take?
Arindam was like a really, really awesome host, actually. He really went above and beyond what a couch surfing host is supposed to do, and he kind of helped that. He drove us to the hospital, and he helped us navigate through the whole process, and really was essential. I don't know what we would have done if we didn't have him to help guide us, really. But so when you get to the emergency room, the waiting room's outside, and when you walk in, you have to still take your shoes off when you walk in. It's interesting.
Wow.
And then, when she got administered to her room or whatnot, the nurses don't bring you the things you need. What they'll do is they'll write a prescription for everything. I'm talking about IV bags, syringes, even gloves. They write you a prescription, and then luckily she had people like me and Arindam. We would have to take the prescription. We would go down and to the pharmacy, have to pick up those things and bring them back up to the nurses. Bringing the nurses the IVs and syringes and gloves and everything. And
then they would take care of the patient.
Yeah. So I don't know what you would do if you didn't have a friend or a relative or someone with you.
Wow.
I don't know what you do if you're by yourself.
Huh.
So that was there's a lot of interesting stuff about this. And actually Samar got kind of bit up while she was in the hospital. So we're wondering, does she have bed bugs there?
Oh, probably. Yeah. Hopefully that's all it was.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily up to the same standards, as a U.S. hospital.
Yeah.
But, and also they try to put things in the prescription that you didn't necessarily need. So you'd have to ask them what all the things were and make sure that they weren't just adding extra stuff.
Oh, really?
So anyway, she got better the next day, though, luckily. And although we both have still had this nasty cough and stuff, I had a runny nose and a cough. That's getting better now, but we've both been kind of not completely healthy. But I guess it's part of it, right?
Is it? Are you pretty sure it's just a cold, or is it you're up on your immunizations, right?
Yeah, no, I'm fine. I just got nothing major, small cold. I didn't even have a fever or anything. Same thing. You catch a cough a couple days back home. No big deal.
Okay.
But we took the train. Finally, we after spending 3 or 4 nights in that town Vashi where Arindam lived, which was longer than we ever intended to. We finally made it back to main Mumbai, and we had a weird experience where when we got to the train station, we're trying to buy tickets to Goa, and this guy was, he was being helpful, but it was just kind of, he was offering us a ride back and all this stuff, but it was just sketchy because he was kind of following us around. And on one hand, you're like, maybe he's just trying to be nice and friendly, but on the other hand, you're like, nope, I've got every single red flag going off right now.
Right.
It's one of those things where you just have to, I don't know exactly what his scheme is or his game, but something feels wrong and you just got to follow your gut there. So he kept offering us, hey, come on, let me take you. And I said, no, it's okay. We'll be okay. We'll find someone else.
Yeah, that sounds like a smart move to me.
Yeah.
Hey.
But we got asked to be in a Bollywood movie, actually. Yeah. We were checking into our hostel, and this guy was like, hey, do you guys want to be extras? They want, they need extras in the background that are white or look like foreigners and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What we would get is it'd be a whole day, 7 a.m. to like 6 p.m. We get our meals and 500 rupees, which is like, I don't know, less than $10. But it goes far here though. But it would have been a cool experience. So we said, okay, we'll do it. Which would have been sweet, except the next day when we were going to do it, the actor got sick apparently. So didn't actually get to be a Bollywood star.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. But that hostel we stayed in, it was cheap, but it was like really, really basic and wasn't very clean. Which is, I guess, what you get sometimes.
Yeah.
We got caught in like a torrential downpour. It's still kind of monsoon season. We got drenched. Like I looked like I jumped in a pool, at one point. So let's see what else happened. So the next day when we were supposed to be in a Bollywood movie, instead we hung out with the other people who were supposed to be in a Bollywood movie, these Australians. Actually one guy was originally Irish, but, we ended up going on a tour of the slums, which was really, really interesting. I had mixed feelings about it at first.
Like, when you saw it, or about going in general?
About going. I felt weird in that, it's weird. I'm going to pay somebody money so I can go look at these people like it's a fucking zoo or something,
Right.
It was weird. It was kind of weird to me. But at the same time, I was like, I really ought to experience this, to just educate myself and understand what it's like. But after looking into it more, we found the organization actually seemed pretty good. So 80% of their profits go towards things that like schools and things within the slums to help them out.
Uh-huh.
And I think it seems like they seem like a genuine good organization. So I felt more comfortable with it, and the guides were actually really, really good, and everything was handled very well. And so the slums are interesting, man.
Well, yeah. What were your takeaways? What did you see that opened your eyes or made you think differently? Or
so it's definitely really dirty, right? There's just piles of garbage, and it's the sanitary conditions are absolutely terrible. There's like a bathroom for every 1,000 people or something crazy. I mean, there's 1 million people living in a 1.7 square kilometer area.
Wow! Holy crap!
It's so crowded.
Are there buildings, or is it just like?
Yeah, there's buildings, and like the alleyways are so narrow you can barely fit both shoulders in. It's just you have to duck different parts. It's really, really wild. I've been using that word a lot lately. I don't know why. So that part was like, wow. But at the same time, so another misconception is the slums are not where the poorest people live, I should say. The poor people are like the street people, the homeless that are kind of, when you're walking around Mumbai, they would kind of beg you for money and those kind of things. The slums are above that. Like the people in the slums have jobs, and they kind of choose to live in there. They won't even accept someone off the streets to come take a job in the slums. But they're doing things like they're recycling and they're building stuff. It's an industry in there, and there's a sense of community in there. That was the other thing. Everyone seemed just happy. Like you'd walk by and all the children are just smiling and they're saying hello, hi.
Well, do you think it's because you were different, or do you think it's because they were generally happy?
No, it was definitely that we were different. They saw some white people and they wanted to say hi to us. Hello, how are you? What's your name? They want to use their English and all this stuff.
Right.
But they seemed genuinely happy. The children just seemed really happy running around. They were playing cricket in the streets. They seemed happy in a way.
I'm curious, the slums, is it a government dictated slums, or are they still private buildings with private apartments that people pay for? And
the government owns the land, but the people own the houses. And what they're trying to do now is actually tear down the houses and build high rises. So the government would pay people off or offer them a house in the high rise. And if they have an area they want to build a high rise in, if 70% of the people there agree, then they'll demolish those houses, build a high rise, and give them a place to live there.
Huh.
So it's government owned land, but people own the actual houses.
Okay.
But the slums it was a really interesting thing to see. But another interesting thing is that was the one place where nobody asked me for money.
Really?
When I was walking through the streets of Mumbai, everywhere you go, there's kids, there's little children, you feel terrible, and I don't completely know yet how to handle it, but they're asking you for help in the slums, and not one person is asking you for anything.
Right.
So that can give you, I guess, some perspective on it, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. I definitely does.
But yeah. Anyway, that was Mumbai.
So you after your trip to the slums, you completely left and went to.
Yeah, we took an overnight train
to
Goa, which is cool. You get a little bed thing you sleep on. On the trains here, there's different classes of tickets you can buy. So we bought a class 2 air-conditioned ticket. There's maybe like 6 different levels. But class 2, it gives you more space and yada yada. You get a bed. But there's different ones you can do. So we decided on that class for what it's worth. Okay. But then we arrived in Goa. We're actually in the northernmost beach in Goa called Arambol. I don't know if it's pronounced Arambol. I should figure that out. And
we'll do some research.
Yeah. Been here. It's, is it day 3 or 4 here? I'm not really sure. Kind of lose sense of time in this kind of place. Because I've just been hanging out on the beach, meeting, actually mostly, so for a while I was hanging out with a lot of locals. Like when I was in what was it? The town outside of Mumbai, Vashi. Okay. Even while Samara was in the hospital, I was still having interesting experiences there because I was hanging out with the locals and just having interesting conversations.
Right.
And here it's more like I'm hanging out with other like foreigners.
Okay.
So there's English people here, a lot of Israelis here actually.
Really?
Yeah, tons of Israelis here.
Huh.
And actually they have Israeli food. You can get falafel here.
Is it good?
I didn't have the falafel. I had some other Israeli dish, and it was really good. But
that's a great point. You need to tell me about the foods you eat that are.
The foods. Also, I love the food here. It's all spicy. I don't know what any of it is.
Well, here's what you need to do. If you find something that you particularly like, you need to write it down, take a picture, and get the description of it so you can talk about it.
It all looks the same to me.
I'm sure you will know soon enough, but you need to be. I would like you to be able to, describe it to me. And
the thing is, it's like everything I eat here. It's sort of like I have no idea what this is, but it's delicious. Mm-hmm. It's always. You always get naan, and you always get some kind of curry-like thing, and rice maybe. But sometimes it's just vegetables. I've had more vegetarian meals here than I've ever had. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's chicken. Actually, surprisingly, I had beef one day. I was with a local, and she ordered like a beef dish, and I was like, "Really? You can do that here?"
Wow.
That was weird.
Huh.
But yeah, in general, I haven't really known what I'm eating. I just eat it, and it's delicious. I can't pronounce any. I don't know what any things are anyway. These words I don't understand. I just have someone order for me, and I eat it. I do what I always do. I ask the waiter, "Hey, what do you recommend?" And they give me something.
Wow.
And it's really cheap. It'll be like you can get a meal for under $1, but maybe a good meal is going to be $3 or something.
Okay.
Super cheap. My hostel right now, so we have a double room, and it costs between 2 people 250 rupees a night. So 125 rupees is about $2 a night is what I'm paying for my accommodation. And it's really nice. It's clean. It's really close to the beach. Really good accommodations.
That's great.
Yeah.
So back to Goa. So you're at
Goa, yeah.
You're at the beach. You're exploring. You're interacting with a lot of traveling people. Have there been any interesting people that you've met here that are worth noting?
Yeah, I mean, the guy whose house I'm at right now, this guy Andy, he's 39. He has a son. They live here. He is essentially doing what I want to do. He has a business he runs from the internet. I don't know all the details of it yet. I actually want to talk to him more about it because I think I could pick his brain a little bit. But he's doing it, you know?
Yeah.
He has his son set up in an international school out here, which is also interesting to see, like, oh, you know, you can get your children an education, not just settling down somewhere in the U.S. You can go anywhere. And maybe he's probably getting, in some ways, more educated than a lot of people because he's seeing parts of the world others might not see. Others have his peers that are, if he's just in the U.S. He's an American guy, this guy Andy. Let's see. There are all kinds of interesting people. And we went yesterday on this scooter kind of tour, and we just drove around. I'm really I guess I've just been relaxing the past few days, mostly. Hanging out at the beach and just sitting. Some days I'm just sitting down at they have these beachfront restaurants. It's actually the off season here right now.
Is it? Okay.
In a few months it gets really a lot more crowded and a lot more people. Apparently though it's crowded, but what I've heard is it's a cool community of people, and it's really a fun place to be. So I might actually come back in a few months and see what it's like then.
Because won't it be, won't the weather be getting nicer and clearing up? And
the weather's great now. I mean, it's a little bit rain still, but what happens is it'll be like wintertime. So people from other places want to get away from the winter will come to Goa, and that's when the high season is, I guess.
Right.
It'll be and there's going to be like a music festival in December called Sunburn.
Huh.
There's all kinds of stuff going on. But I kind of like, it's cool now. I kind of like seeing it this way as well, because I get to have both experiences maybe. There's something to say for being in the quieter part of it.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
What? So you're there. Right now your vacation. You don't really have any good plans. It sounds like right now. Where do you see yourself? What do you see yourself doing the next few days?
I don't know. Hanging out, relaxing.
Yeah, okay. Now
I have destinations I want to go to soon. Excuse me, my cough is still not completely healed. So there's another kind of beach place south of here called Gokarna, and there's a place called Hampi where there's all these ancient sort of temples and things like that to see. Mm-hmm. That looks really fascinating on the pictures I saw. So I have a vague idea of other places I'd like to go next.
Yeah.
But I'm not in any rush. Right now I'm kind of at a point, I was in Mumbai, in a big city, just doing things all the time and seeing stuff. I'm in a phase right now where I want to relax for a little bit. I'm enjoying it here.
Okay.
We'll see how I feel in a few days.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
How long has this been? Like an hour so far?
Right now, hit an hour mark right now.
All right. That's probably about what we want, right?
Yep. About an hour. And you know what? I think we're probably going to have to cut it up and maybe even make it into multiple episodes. I think it makes sense.
But you want to call this?
No, I have a couple more questions and then we can definitely call it. But
okay.
What? I have a couple of.
We can also do some. We have other episodes we can do. It sounds like this one's packed.
No,
episode.
This one's packed. No, it sounds like a great episode. Maybe we'll formally say goodbye and
we can still talk.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Why don't we end the recorded part and then we'll have another podcast in a week or something.
Okay, that sounds great. Well,
cool.
Well, good luck in your journeys and and take a lot of pictures. And, you know, if anything piques your interest, be sure to take note, and we'll catch up with you next week.
Sweet.
All right, buddy. I miss you.
Miss you too. Kisses.
Smoochies. See ya.
All right, later, dude.
All right.